Hi guys, it's Karina, and thank you for joining me this week at Onstage College Auditions. This week I wanted to talk about monologue selection and monologue material. So first off, most schools are going to want two monologues at least, a contemporary and a Shakespeare, and sometimes two contemporary, contrasting monologues. And what that means is they're asking for two monologues that are completely different, that show a different side of you, maybe one comedic, one dramatic. Typically that's the case, that really show a range. So it's not the same kind of part, that you're showing off kind of the different kind of aspects of yourself. Typically these monologues are about a minute to a minute and a half, no longer than 3 minutes. You're going to want to make sure that you've timed your monologues, that you've gone over them with a coach or someone you trust and really timed them to make sure it's not exceeding the time limit, but also that they're not too short. So with a really, really great monologue or something that's really good material, solid material, you're going to want something that has a really nice arc to it, a really nice beginning, middle, and end. Something where during the course of the monologue, something changes you, something active happens. So that being said, something to avoid is are monologues that take place on the phone, or monologues where you're writing in a journal that are not very active, where you're not speaking to someone. You can speak even to the audience, but really make sure that you're very specific about who the audience is to you. So make sure you're speaking to someone. Another tip is try not to find material or use material that is way, way older than you, or even just way older. Try to stay closer to your age range, within a few years. So that's really, really your best bet, to really show off who you are and what you can do, and really show off some of your personality. And so you're not really playing, someone who's 50 years old or, way beyond your age range. So another tip for choosing material is try to find something that really speaks to you, that you're really, really excited by, that doesn't feel like it's a chore or homework assignment or something you have to do that you're really dreading, but really something that you can dig into and feel excited by. That's going to make all the difference in the world. It's going to definitely make your performance more alive, and it's going to make the whole experience a lot better. So try to find something that you're really into, that you really, really like. So some tips about choosing material itself. So I want to concentrate first on contemporary material. So something that I advise is not looking through or choosing a monologue from a big monologue book. These are very popular. It's an easy way to pick something and then kind of be done. But typically what happens is with these monologue books is that everyone's doing that, and they end up using the same material. And so the auditioners hear this material all day long. Sometimes these monologues are standalone monologues. They are not from a whole play. Try to find something that's from a whole play, that's not just a monologue and that's the piece itself. Try to find something where it's really extracting from the middle of a play, from somewhere in a play. A one act is fine, 10-minute play is fine, but that's not just a standalone monologue. So these monologue books, I recommend avoiding material from there. You may come across something you really, really like, and in that case, I would suggest looking into the writer or playwright and seeing what other material they've written and choosing something that's a little off the beaten path. That's going to be a way better choice than doing something that is incredibly familiar that many, many, many people are going to end up doing. So that with that being said as well, there are also plays that are done very, very frequently in auditions. And so I also suggest not doing material from Our Town, The Crucible, Streetcar Named Desire. I would say just avoid Streetcar at all costs. Way older characters. Glass Menagerie is done very, very frequently. Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. There's really amazing material in there, but it is done quite frequently. Spoon River Anthology is another one. So really try to find something that's new, that's fresh, that's from a new play. It would be great to find something within the last 5 years, but I would say within the last 35 years is a really nice span of time to find a contemporary monologue from that time period. When you go back a little farther, Chekhov, Ibsen, those kind of playwrights, I would also suggest not using that material. Use something that's a little bit more up to date. So that also being said, in terms of the monologue selection, now where do I find this new material? So how do I even begin that process? So there are certain places you can look, and you can start to look online, and a really great resource is the Humana Festival or the Actors Theater of Louisville. So every year they do new plays, and they're produced, and they put out a compilation of the plays that they've done at this festival. And typically they are brand new, they have great material, and you can go back, years and years and research the material that's been done there. Another is EST, Ensemble Studio Theater here in New York. They put out a compilation of new plays every year, I believe, and you can also look them up online and see if there's material there that you can find that's new, that's fresh, that people don't really know about, new writers. That's the kind of stuff you're really going to want to hone in on. Try to find something that's from a published play as well, that's not written by a friend or from a TV show. Avoid that. It should be from a published play. So once you find your material, you can even take something that's maybe a longer monologue and cut it down and make it a shorter monologue. You're completely allowed to do that. But once you've found your material, it is really important that you start working on it as soon as you can, and that you time it. It is really ideal to have 4 pieces at your disposal, ready to go, polished, prepared. So if you're asked to do another piece, you've got it, and there's no second thought about it. So having 2 kind of backup pieces are also it's really beneficial. So now Shakespeare pieces or classical pieces. So there's less of kind of a range or choice there because of a very finite amount of material. So you're going to end up doing something that other people do. That's just the nature of the beast with Shakespeare, especially for women. So try not to choose something that is way beyond your range, that is like a Lady Am, Queen Margaret in her later years. Try to choose something that speaks to you, that maybe from a comedy, that's more in the younger kind of arena. Something like Helena from Midsummer, or Celia or Rosalind from As You Like It, any of the women from Love's Labour's Lost, Comedy of Errors. There's some really great material there. Jailer's Daughter from Two Noble Kinsmen is another good one. So look at those kind of characters that are really closer to your age range, and avoid doing as well the big famous monologues, To Be or Not to Be, all of that stuff. Try to find something that isn't going to be a big uphill climb for you in terms of the classical text that you choose. Again, try to have 2. That would be great. If you could have 2 pieces, 2 contrasting pieces, you're set. So if you have any questions, or you're kind of like, oh my God, I want to know more about this, feel free to drop me an email at onstagecollegeauditions@gmail.com. And start looking online, start reading plays, start getting more information about what's out there, and what kind of material would be really exciting for you to present, at your audition. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye.